live. Yeah, we going live. Hey, we going live. Yeah, we going live. Yeah, we going. Yeah, we going. Yeah, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line. Hey.
Hello, beautiful people.
Hello.
I am Jarrett, the football genius Burgess.
And I am Stephanie Fitzpatrick, aka the Advantage Coach.
And this is episode 142 of the Field to the Real podcast.
Yes. So I'm excited.
I am too.
I'm excited. Yeah.
We are coming up on 150.
Yes, I can't. It blows my mind. Like, that we've been doing this long. It just blows every time. I'm just like, thank you, God.
Right.
No matter what, we get it done, right? I was in the hospital on Wednesday, y'all, but guess what?
Right. We here recording. It's New Year's Eve.
Yes.
It's
right.
New Year's Eve.
Recording on New Year's Eve, in fact. Yes.
We recorded on Thanksgiving Day.
Yep.
And so we're super dedicated to
Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited about another episode. We get to we got some we had to stop ourselves from just having because we y'all don't understand how we just be going like this is not, we're not staging anything. It's not fake, phony. What you see is literally how we are when we talk about this stuff. And so we had to stop ourselves like, wait, let's just wait till we're on to have this conversation.
Right. So it doesn't seem recycled because
it's not.
Look, we was about to get into it.
Production meeting. We still come on here and it's still. So we just excited about the topics, and thank you, Jarrett, for taking the lead this week on getting the content prepared since I was a little out.
Now listen. You still sent it. you sent it to me last night. I was in the middle of working at the Kennesaw State game.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm gonna wait till I get home to send it. And I thought about it. Thank goodness you texted me when you did, because when I thought about it, I was like, I ain't gonna make it home till about 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I had already started putting topics down, but it was like, you sent it to me and it was all formatted, and I was like, all right, let me just fill my stuff in here.
So I really appreciate you. I appreciate you. This is true partnership. We truly are like in this together, and I just appreciate you taking the reins to get the topics out there. So we're gonna get started with our Who's Really Right.
Yes.
So I don't know how many of you know, but every year this happens in professional and collegiate sports, but we are almost we got 2 weeks left in the season. 2 weeks left in NFL season, and so a lot of times coaches are on the hot seat at this point, and so we are at that point where we're talking about who's really going to be able to remain on their job and sustain, or who's going to be out at the end of the year or before. We've seen Urban Meyer hit the bricks.
And
seen Chucky hit the bricks.
Yeah.
So which is really rare, honestly, especially in professional sport. For them, you got to really be either doing something very horrible, which is the case for both of them, or you've got to be really like bring the team down to the dirt for them to get rid of you before a season is over.
Yeah.
And so we've got a few coaches on the hot seat.
Yes.
And so our Who's Really Right is who's going to be out.
Okay.
So we've got at least 4 that we know of right now.
4 that we know of.
4 that we know of, and that's Pete Carroll of the Seattle Seahawks, Mike Zimmer of the Minnesota Vikings, Matt Nagy of the Chicago Bears, and who's the last one? I can't think of his name right now. What's the other guy's name? Can't think of his name. Oh my gosh. Why did it just leave me? Oh,
we were just talking about
Big Fangio.
Big Fangio of the Broncos.
Fangio
Yes.
of the Denver Broncos. Those 4 are on the hot seat. So Jarrett, man first.
Oh Lord. This is what equity looks like.
Absolutely. Oh gosh. Who do you think is out?
I only think one of those 4 are really going to be out.
Okay.
I think it'll probably only be Matt Nagy. I think he's done enough of a horrible job. I think this was the last hurrah for him. And just given the circumstances, unless Justin Fields had a phenomenal season and they ended up somehow showing some improvement, he was going to be fired this year regardless.
Okay.
And I say that because at some point they were going to have to play Justin Fields, even though they brought in what's his name? I just keep thinking of Red Rocket in my head. Andy
Dalton. Not Red Rocket.
that was his nickname when he was
I know, just ginger. I know he's a little ginger. But, yes. But okay. So okay. Go ahead. So for me, I feel like I'm gonna rebut your statement first. I don't think he'll be out just yet because of the same reason you just gave. You had Justin Fields, who was a rookie quarterback. And we know that the grace that is given to certain people is probably going to be upon his life in this moment. Because that could be the excuse. That could be the excuse to why your team did not, do well this year.
Right.
So I feel like it's Pete Carroll.
Whoa, okay.
I do. For a couple of reasons. And Lord Jesus, I know it's ageism, but it's real. The man is old. Let's start there. And they may need somebody, because he's not, what I haven't seen is the ability to adjust to what's in front of you, what you've got. And you've got talent. While it's diminished, especially on the defensive side, you still have talent on your team. And you have not been able to make the adjustments necessary. And this is sometimes the issue when you're talking about older coaches, because they get, like old people, get set in their ways and feel like my way is the right way, right? Or I don't need to make adjustments or change the way that I do things. And when you did, and then I'll say this, when you did try to make a slight adjustment, which was have Russell throw the ball 50 times, that wasn't the answer either.
Right.
So you didn't go from, because you were a run first team and then Russ could just do his thing, right? You went from, you didn't try the middle ground. Let's try to find out if we can run a little bit, keep the run game honest, at least attempt, and then have Russell throw it. No, you just went from one extreme to the other. And I feel like because you weren't able to, and again, this is not ageism, but because you're older and this has just been your kind of how you've done things, it may be time for you to go because you don't have the ability to make the adjustments the way you need to.
So I think
I like Pete Carroll. Let me just put that out there.
No, we've talked about that before. We both like Pete Carroll. And I feel like any other older coach, I think I could roll with that sentiment. I think Pete Carroll is the type of coach who is willing to adjust. And I think that in a vacuum, looking at something like this, it would be cause and effect. But because there's so many factors involved with this, number one being that you wrecked your salary cap to make at the time to make Russell Wilson the highest paid quarterback at the time that he got his deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for those of you who, you know, aren't aware of the economics of
this is the businessman, Jarrett.
the economics of pro football, what happens is you have a finite amount of money to pay all of your players. Mm-hmm. What happens is when a quarterback usually takes up the majority of that money.
Yeah.
It's called a salary cap. So whatever the amount is, every year, and every year it goes up. Mm-hmm. This year it didn't go up, I believe, because of COVID. Mm-hmm. But it will be going up again next year. But every year that it goes up, every year it goes up, and the team has a certain amount of money to spend. Well, mm-hmm. if you have a lot of that money tied up into your quarterback, you can't pay, other players to make your team better. So you have to get better through the draft. And I think what happened is, and this isn't necessarily on Pete Carroll, what happened is they didn't get that much better during the draft. Mm-hmm. over the years where after they lost in the Super Bowl.
No.
And they made some very questionable mistakes.
DK Metcalf was the last best thing they did.
Oh yeah, definitely. And they hit on him, you know, but you got rid of Max Unger for Jimmy Graham. That was a mistake.
Yes.
And so the offensive line over the years has gone down. And so the thing is, and I know if I'm a GM, my mindset is, if I'm going to give Russell Wilson all of this money, I'm going to lean on the coaching staff to say, listen, we giving him all of this money. We need to let him cook. So you're probably going to throw the ball a lot more. And so that's why I like a lot of the things that, you know, that coaches get blamed for in the NFL are really just a part of business.
Yeah, bad business decisions.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to stick with it. I'm gonna stick with it. I still like.
Is he the only one you think that's gonna be gone?
If I had to pick somebody else, it would. I would say Matt Nagy.
Okay.
If I had to pick somebody else, I don't think Zimmer has bombed that bad this year. I don't think he hasn't bombed that bad this year. The team has consistently been mediocre. He hasn't had a team that's been horrible. They've always been right there in contention for being in the playoffs and being in the playoffs even.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like he doesn't deserve, I don't think, to be fired at this point. So no.
I don't think so, either. He's only a few years removed from that catch against the Saints.
Almost in the Super Bowl.
You know what I'm saying? And that they just laid the egg against the Eagles in the NFC Championship. And that was the year the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know, and so he's kind of been right there. So I think he gets a little more grace. I think Vic Fangio gets a little more grace as well, because this is only year 2 for him.
2, yeah.
So he had the COVID year, and then this year, I believe his contract is for 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So I think he gets a little more time, because if you fire him now, you got to pay him the rest of that contract.
And then the thing is, like, I know that this is the thing. They were hoping he would come in and they instantly start going back to the playoffs, because I think I'm reading. I think they don't make it this year, which I don't think they will. 6th year in a row they haven't made it to the playoffs. It's pretty much in Peyton left. Y'all just been trashed pretty much. Because it is what it is. So
can't get a quarterback.
Sounds you need a quarterback. Fault. There you go. Let's start there.
Sounds like the GM's fault.
Business. Here we go again. Business.
Who's the GM?
You know how I feel about that there. You know how I feel about that there. Yes. But I feel like they will have now. See, this brings us back to our point from last week. Mm-hmm. You know, Peyton getting involved might make things a little more spicy for them. They might be able to wrangle some things and make some things happen.
I think so too.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like he shouldn't be on the hot seat either at this point, honestly. I mean, I just don't. But yeah, if anybody, your boy Matt, just just poor decision after poor decision. And it's not just, you talk about it from a business standpoint or from, as a head coach overall, looking at at your team from this high level vision. It's on the field making bad calls.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you why I'm a lock for him of all of them getting fired. Because I think that it's almost a certainty that the GM gets fired.
Okay.
And so either way, even if the GM stays, I think the GM cuts ties with him to show that, all right, listen, I'm trying to do something to make this team better.
Right.
So,
well, I don't know. I still feel like he'll get the grace that some of us don't.
The protection for the complexion.
Yeah. That some of us don't. I think he will. Just because they'll have this to say that first of all, Justin Fields was a rookie. Second of all, he got hurt. Like, it's too many. Andy Dalton got hurt. I think Nick Foles is their quarterback right now. Like, they've had too many, like, things twists and turns here. And it honestly, everybody got COVID as an excuse.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's gonna keep him there. So y'all let us know who you think is really right.
Yes.
Jarrett thinks that Matt Nagy of the Chicago Bears is out. And I feel like it's Pete Carroll from the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
So y'all let us know.
Now put the cameras on me, 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 put the cameras on me.